breakfast puppies?
This podcast contains adult language and content and is meant for mature audiences. Listener discretion is advised.
You're listening to the Glitterbois.
Well, it's been a while, folks, and we are finally back with more delicious Palladium goodness here on the Glitterbois podcast.
So tasty, so nutritious.
Yeah, sorry for the delay, for the absence. It was not planned, but, you know, life happens.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The things tend not to be planned. In fact, if we ever come to you and say, you know, why we haven't suddenly spoken to you in a long time, it was planned. You know for a fact we're lying right there. It's like,
Yeah, we like talking to you, and we like hearing you talk back to us, or, well, more often just reading you talk back to us, because it's, the Discord verbal format. Although, someone did recently recommend that we set up, like, an idle voice chat room, and I'm considering it. We've got some pretty cool people in there, so...
We do, and if it was anywhere other than our community, I would be so skeptical of that. But
yeah.
our community is pretty chill, with a couple outliers who are routinely hunted down and thrown to the dogs.
To the dogs. I don't really have a good segue for that. So we're talking about Nightbane again today.
Night Spawn.
Not Night Spawn.
Yes.
No, we can't do that. That would be legal problem.
Yes.
We're talking about Nightbane. We haven't talked about Nightbane in a while. It is one of the most unique goddamn properties in gaming, so we really should talk about it some more. So this time we are moving into the Nightbane world books. We've been trying to bring this book to the table for about a year now. And we keep either forgetting to do it or the things just don't line up. And even like today, Matthew, you and I were sitting here talking and you're like, I know we've done this.
Yeah, I thought we had to go back and check our catalog to make sure that we hadn't done this.
Yeah, well, we have not done this one. And it's heavy in my mind because I have cribbed on this content frequently in my Rifts games. So let's go ahead and dive in. We're a little bit all over the place because we haven't talked to each other in weeks.
Right.
So getting back into
let's do a quick synopsis for him real fast.
Yeah.
So if you haven't caught our Nightbane episode, what you should do right now is pause, leave a thumbs up and a comment, and say, I'm pausing. I'm leaving a comment so I can find this later. and go and check out our Nightbane podcast. Then come back and we'll do this world book.
Yeah. It's episode movement, and I will link that in the show notes.
Yeah.
So Nightbane, again, it's so unique. It is the closest thing I can compare it to, really, is the Clive Barker movie Nightbreed.
Yes. With a little less camp, I feel.
A little less camp and a little more superheroics, because you are basically Cronenberg superheroes.
Yeah. There's occasionally it gives me a bit more of less of that and gives me an occasional touch of other multiverse thoughts that authors have done over the years. I even get the occasional touch of like C.S. Lewis, the wood between worlds, if you remember that. Yeah, that silent wood with the pools of each, and each pool that you step into is another universe, another world, another time stream. And there's some calmer parts in here which are less eldritch horrors eating, and that are more of that. And there's a lot of Elric here too, and there's a lot of Cthulhu here too. So
yeah. General premise, though, is that if you were playing with the core premise of the first book, your characters are almost entirely going to be comprised of people called Nightbanes. They turn into bizarro monster things, which wide variety of options here. And with every book, including this one, they add even more random roll tables where you can just build this cacophonous monstrosity that is your personalized monster hero. And it's pretty cool. It's like a transforming thing. So
Yeah.
that's Nightbane in a nutshell. Oh, and there's like alien invasion from the plane of shadow coming in, and global conspiracies, and yeah.
Super CIA too.
Super CIA kind of stuff. Yeah. All right. So Nightbane, book 1, Between the Shadows, has another one of these covers. It really looks like Locutus of Borg just sort of stepped out and had like an emotional moment.
I like that you can tell whoever drew this was also a fan of Brahm.
Yeah.
You know?
Well, I think they saw the cover of the first book and like, well, I don't really want to step too far away from it.
Yeah.
That's Martin McKenna on the cover painting here. It's beautiful.
Yeah.
It's, at the end, though, it is really much Locutus of Borg having an emotional moment.
It's more, it's Goth Club, Locutus of Borg.
Yeah. Goth Club. Goth Picard. It's Goth Picard having a moment. So again, this is the second book. It is also written by CJ Correa, who is a fantastic world creator. Now, Between the Shadows does what it says on the cover. It takes you between the realities. You have the shadow world that is the real world of Nightbane. You have the shadow realm, the Nightlands that are invading the real world. And in between them, you have these other planes of existence, the astral plane and the dream world. And it's like, okay, if you ever watched that movie, The Cell, and thought,
Yes.
I want a role-playing game like this, but they're also Cronenbergs, then that's what this is.
That's incredibly apt.
Yeah.
This has more atmosphere than a lot of the Palladium games. Like Palladium games are heavy on lore and they're heavy on world building, but this has more feels in it. It has more creep to it than even like Beyond the Supernatural or any of their other like horror titles. One of the things I like is I like the concept of the beachhead, where it's not only is our world being invaded, but in really good human fashion, we're going, oh yeah, well, doors move two ways.
Yeah.
And we're coming back at you. That strikes me as a very human response to any kind of aggression, be it eldritch or be it, just bog standard, you're being invaded by soldiers from another country. It's like, oh yeah.
Well, it's a really cool concept. And what I love the most about it is the roots to that beachhead. We're talking about people from Earth. I forget which faction it is. Maybe it's the Spooks. I don't know. It's one of the Nightbane factions has set up an invasion into the Nightlands that is currently undetected because they're taking a circuitous route.
Yeah.
Instead of going directly from reality to Nightlands, they're walking through the astral plane and the dream realm, which is hazy and weird, and it's easy to get lost in any of them. So that whole it's beautiful. It is itself. Just, you could imagine taking a group of Nightbanes, of your heroes, from your activities in your campaign right now. You're like, man, I want to get them to the Nightlands, but I don't want to make it easy.
Yeah.
You can have an entire campaign of leading them through astral and dream space just to get to the dreamland, or just to get to that beachhead where the new campaign begins.
Right. It almost reminds me of not the actual location or the mechanics, but it reminds me of the feel of Spelljammer, if that makes sense to you.
Yes, that, because Spelljammer is so, oh God, I haven't thought about Spelljammer in so long. Spelljammer, Dungeons the Dragoning 40K, which is a fantastic, hilarious game. Everway, or even Sliders, that old TV show. Any of these things where they're not so much Sliders. Sliders has more of a quantum leap approach to it, but definitely Spelljammer. matches this because the template here is you have these pockets of reality
Yeah.
that are separated by some kind of ethereal effluvium.
Mhm.
And just wrapping your head around how that works is so difficult to do if you are somebody who thinks in three-dimensional space,
Yeah.
because it's not a three-dimensional relationship between these things. So something like Spelljammer, where yes, you're flying through space,
Mhm.
but it's not space.
Yeah.
It's like the astral
Troll.
weird connection between reality space. And it very much feels like that's kind of the setup. That's very good.
When you start to think about how this plays in pop fiction too, you have things like what was it with the Upside Down recently? What was that one?
Stranger Things.
Yeah, Stranger Things.
That Stranger Things is so Nightlands.
Mhm.
Like the Upside Down is.
Yeah.
Oh God.
I do feel, especially with some of the art in this book, minus Machine Gun Titty Serpentor. I'm sorry, he was drinking. I almost killed him. A lot of the artwork here is very like I think it was drawn towards it afterwards. Like I don't blame anyone for that. I'm not saying anything. I'm just things are built off concepts that we see in our own world, and I think this played a lot of parts
In what?
and a lot of pop culture since that has to deal with like Clive Barkery worlds, dreamscapes, like page 23, the thing crawling out of the mouth, the bug thing. Yeah.
Oh God, that. Yes.
And
that
the look on his face. Yeah.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Wow.
And then you have page 25.
This fuck.
So for those of you who can't see what we're talking about, there is.
They will. It's going to be on the cover.
Okay, yeah, this is the one we should definitely use for it.
Yep, definitely happening.
This is a fantastic. It looks like a bug version of Coalition Dead Boys against crystalline winged Serpentor with Gatling gun titties.
Well, what's fascinating here is that
Cyclops. I forgot Cyclops.
this is like the classic divide because Palladium's art spans a wide variety of focus.
Yeah.
You have the conceptual get in your head and fuck you up kind of art, such as the stuff that was largely in Beyond the Supernatural first edition.
Mm-hmm.
And then you have this this heavy action, shit's going crazy kind of stuff.
Yeah.
But then you look over here, turn the previous page, turn back to page 23 and look at this. This is the stuff that Randy Post is really good at. This.
Oh, yeah.
Just these scenes of both cool, bleeding edge, just badassery, and then this kind of fucked up body horror, which, again, as you say, that Clive Barker style of gets more in your head.
Yeah.
Than gets more in your head and under your skin than cutting you in half kind of stuff.
Because it's crawling out through your skin.
Oh, it's in me. But yeah, it's this book. I love this book. This is not my favorite Nightbane book. My favorite Nightbane book is the first book, but this is a close second. There's so much to work with here. If you are the kind of person who likes the Palladium rules, but also thinks, I want to get a little artsy with my game.
Yeah.
The concepts that are presented here, even in the forms of the character options that you're given, are very esoteric. They are not your standard Palladium characters. You look at a character like the Astral Mage, or the Dream, whatever. The variants. There's the Astral side and the Dream side, and they each have their architects and their mages and whatnot. They have powers that are largely useless outside of their realm. But inside the realm, they have so much variety, so much option available that you can run an entire campaign just within these metaphysical spaces, even with normal characters. Like, you don't have to play one of these astral characters, but having one there to bridge the gap there's whole campaigns worth of events just within this book.
Well, once again, Palladium pulls off something that is uniquely Palladium, which is within this setting, you can play on any level. You can play the researchers who are gone rogue. You can play, the all powerful Nightbane. You like there is the village level, there is the city level, there is the cosmos ending level, and you can seamlessly walk from one to the other with any character. And it's something that is just not done in any other system. They spend all this time working out rules and balancing, and absolutely none of it has anything to do with the actual balancing. Whereas if you give the Palladium system way, you can walk from your research lab to the eldritch horror from the beginning of time and stand your ground. There's an element of, are you familiar with the Reddit community, Humanity Fuck Yeah?
No.
It's fun. Mm-hmm. It's basically a whole bunch of fanfic about aliens encountering humanity and just, the stubbornness and why we're good on, alien ships because we don't die. And
is that connected to that meme back in the day that was like, if you look at the humans in Star Trek, they are essentially the hold my beer.
Yes, it's very close to that.
I'm going to strap 2 legs across a warp core and fire myself into the universe.
Pretty much, yeah.
Yeah.
This is one of those, and I actually like that because I do have, not looking at the planet right this exact second, but I have a lot of faith in the destiny of mankind. We're very smart monkeys. And I like a humanocentric game. I feel like a lot of that gets lost in riffs, because there's so much variety that it's just one actor among a huge population.
That's what I love, at least about the base concept of the core Nightbane role-playing game, is it is largely humanocentric. Your world is being invaded by monsters.
Yeah.
Now, you also are a monster, but you're also a human.
And there's the dichotomy of that, yeah.
And it does, in its Palladium way, the same kind of deal with the monster that Vampire the Masquerade tried and failed to do. I think the Nightbane concept does it better. What?
Oh, I was just whispering that Werewolf did it rather well. I feel
Werewolf did it better.
Yeah.
I know a lot of people are all like Vampire the Masquerade and White Wolf and the Storyteller system. That was one of the most combat heavy systems I've ever played. Just slapping a word storyteller on something doesn't make it artsy, folks.
No, but I did used to LARP in a mall after hours.
Yeah,
with no dice.
We did that with Shadowrun. Yeah.
Ooh, we should have a story time on both of those.
Shadowrun LARPs are where it's at.
Yeah.
I never did a Nightbane LARP though. I don't even think I could possibly. It's just
okay. Put that in episode ideas.
Nightbane LARP,
or just like Palladium LARP. I just cleaned out my attic because I just moved.
Do you want us to LARP in your attic?
No, I'm saying I have so much armor right now.
Oh.
From sci-fi to like medieval. Like we could make this happen.
Okay. All right. You get my brain wheel spinning here. Palladium LARP. See how that goes down if I bring it up at the next open house. Anyway, though, yes, it is a humanocentric game, and I know that they have non-human race options and character options that you can play, but the game is called Nightbane. You play the Nightbanes, goddammit, I will die on this hill. Anyway, bringing those characters into an astral realm is, again, it's a lot like that movie, The Cell, or any kind of thing where Sandman, I think is a good one. Any of Neil Gaiman's major things, Sandman, Neverwhere, Coraline, they all have aspects of these imaginary worlds. Hell, James and the Giant Peach is a story of a travel through astral space of a kid who got bonked on the head too hard.
Have you read the Elric saga yet?
Parts of it.
Okay.
I've read the first book.
Keep going. It gets really good.
But actually, you could do sliders with this.
No.
You could just have sliders provide that inspiration of moving from astral realm to astral realm, and kind of want to do that now. That's the story of my life, right?
Yeah.
Chatting about things, coming up with a really cool idea and thinking this would work in Palladium, and then never ever doing it.
I know.
Story of my life.
You know what else it is? It's Hellraiser. It's very much Hellraiser.
Clive Barker.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Because I just turned to page 48.
I think that's the page I was just looking at.
Yeah.
Oh, that page is so wonderful. Yes. With the spider thing in the background and the weird trippy patterns and the guy who's basically got a sleep mask stapled to his face.
Yeah.
And he's just holding
sewn to
an
his
owl.
face.
An owl. Cool owl.
The owl looks very judgmental on his life choices
The owl
instantly.
is probably another character being like, I'm tired of your shit. Can we get out of here now?
There are the astral mages. There's a lot of OCCs that go from like research and development to
Astral Lord.
to Astral Lord.
Yeah, who they create the worlds within astral space. And
a lot of this is very similar to what was it was out of Rifts. It was the Time one where I was like, this is cool, but we can't have this anywhere in the game.
The temporal magic.
Yeah. Where they built pocket dimensions and
Yep. It is a lot like that.
Yeah.
I remember when I got this book way back in the day, I didn't get it. I didn't get it. I mean, I acquired the book itself, but then it sat on my shelf for years. I just didn't wrap my head around the concepts of it. Because again, if you think largely in three-dimensional space and you have difficulty breaking out of that, like I did at that time, you can look at the stuff that's in this book and just not get it. And for many of you, none of this will apply in any way whatsoever to your games. But I want to give an example of a way that I use this content in a Rifts game.
Okay. Oh, yes.
So I ran a Rifts game. Matthew was one of the players. And in this game, the basic concept was that we kind of took a riff on the Moro project, where they were NEMA popsicles from the Chaos Earth era that woke up out of stasis in the Rift's Earth PA 90-something era in my own version. But anyway, unleash your imagination, all that stuff. And they ended up at trying to reclaim the Cheyenne Mountain NORAD facility. And unbeknownst to them, the Cheyenne Mountain NORAD facility itself was trapped in a bled over astral dream realm that was in a constant cycle, a constant loop. And everybody who was stuck in there by this point had died horribly several million times and been brought back to relive it and die again several million times. Because I worked with that, the way it's presented is that, time flows differently in astral space. So like, you can live hundreds of lifetimes in astral space and age very little in the real world or the dream world, or anyway.
The dream stream, I believe. Yeah.
So I decided, in true unleash your imagination fashion, I took two most fucked up, heinous enemies in this book, the Necrophim and the Amorphiomoth, and I merged them into one creature that I called the Necromorphiomoth, and the player characters ended up getting sucked into it as well. And I believe that they had to go into it specifically so they could stop the time loop, so they could pull out the intelligence that was the original Archie, which was also stuck in the time loop.
My character had so much fun with this. This was one of my all-time favorite parts of gaming, like ever. I truly enjoyed. My character thought they had gone to Valhalla.
Well, it's funny you say that, because the entire military scenes that I put in there, I stole directly from the book Valhalla.
Oh,
which now the author's name escapes me, but it's a comedy book about how the gods get together and they decide to outsource the afterlife.
Mm-hmm.
And they start to match people with afterlives that they feel might be appropriate with them.
It was very appropriate.
This one dude who's like a middle manager dies and gets sent to an eternal war zone. It is very much that. And I was like, oh my God, what if they all got stuck into it? So we would go back to the characters and we'd play through like a fight scene. And then we go to do something else that other characters are doing. And then we get back to it. And then I would just like give them insanities because I'm like, all right, great. 17 million days later, you're at the same thing again. And they're like, I hate life right now.
All except for me.
And they all started getting long-term trauma.
Oh, yeah.
And I think Abel got trauma too. I think he started becoming a little bit, I think that's where he got explosion happy.
Yeah. It was when he handed himself a live grenade that he had pulled the pin on.
Oh yeah, because everybody they kept encountering was them.
Yeah.
So they're like killing everybody, but they're killing them, and then like it was a lot of fun, and it was just two monsters merged into one, using powers out of this book, fucking with the player characters.
That was so good. Fuck, yeah. I'm still to this day like that was one of my favorite parts of gaming ever. That was a fantastic game. That
was fun. We're going to talk more about Abel over the course of this podcast, especially as we get deeper into the Rifters. There's more things that were messing with Abel. A note to Matthew. Oh, I had fun with that character.
I did too. It was fun.
Okay, tangent over. Again, 3-dimensional space. It's difficult to describe this book in a way that I think isn't meandering.
Yeah, it goes a lot of places. Not the least of which is PCCs, which are psychic character classes, a whole new, because occupation, racial, psychic now.
Yeah, PCCs were, I think, coming into being around this time. Maybe, I don't know, what year was this? 1998. That fits. I think the PCC started in Beyond the Supernatural, but I think that acronym was mid to late 90s when it started to finally hit the other properties. Which it's just OCC with psychics. But, what?
I'm not sure why it was done that way, but
why? I don't. That's something I will never understand is the weird use of acronyms in certain places, but not in others, and so on, and blah, 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 blah. Okay, anyway, this is a Nightbane book, so we're here to talk about Nightbane characteristic tables. So, from the beginning...
Okay, but then spells. Talents, excuse me.
Well, the talents are cool. However, if you've only seen the random roll creation tables from the first book, well, we're going to expand those now with bears, bear form. Yes.
Which includes a centaur bear. I love different kinds of centaurs that have nothing to do with horses. I love Wimics from D&D. I love bear forms. I love the weird shrimp people that you see in some things. Like I love different centaurs.
Well, the next table, the amphibian table, has the amphibian centaur. So if you ever thought you wanted to be a centaur frog dude, you can do that here. Then it has the biomechanical table 2 with screen face, speakers, tool hands, monitor eyes, and my favorite, chainsaw arms.
Yes.
Chainsaw arms. If you could have anything, you have chainsaw arms.
I mean, yeah. Obviously.
The new Stigmata table, you could be inside out. You could be covered in faces. And yes, the talents. So Nightbanes have their own special kind of supernatural powers in addition to their weird forms. We got some new ones.
I like the air grab because you always see this. It's very the force, and then you throw, but it's, you're just gesturing with your mind.
I really like the dark wave. Well, I like dark wave as a musical genre, but I also really like the power.
Yeah.
You become a semi-liquid mass of pure darkness, and the descriptions of it, what you can do with it, it's so fun.
I like the piecework is probably my favorite though here, where you just take a bit of yourself and use it as like a bug.
Mm-hmm.
You know, to have an ear in that room. Well, you can take your ear, put it in that room, and leave the room.
You need to take your finger.
Yeah.
Yeah. And then we have something that is pure Clive Barker.
Club
are
freak.
Club freak. Nightbane nightclubs.
And if you're younger, then you can also think From Dusk Till Dawn.
Yeah, sure. But that was definitely more of a lure the people in and kind of kill them thing.
Yeah.
This is more of this is where Nightbane come to be themselves and express themselves. It's pretty queer.
Yeah.
You know, it is all about expressing your true self around others who are doing the same. And I like that. But again, it's very Clive Barker. Like,
Very.
I could totally see a Clive Barker movie based on this.
There's not all that much after that. It's just tie-ins.
Yeah.
There's some adventure ideas.
We get conversions finally. Yeah. I think this was before
The conversion
Dark
book?
Conversions book.
No.
Maybe?
Maybe not at least the famous conversion book that everyone has had at least one of.
Yeah, but there was later Dark Conversion. I don't remember when the Nightbanes entered the conversion realm. It might be this book. This might be the Nightbane conversions. Yeah. So yeah.
I like the thought of the levels of experience there is, for lack of the better term, and they don't use it in here. I just use it because this is how my mind works. The material, the materium, the astral, the dream, the kind of eldritch upside down horror. The gods inhabit this level. And I like the bubbles within, the Fey bubble, the club bubble. This is where the dimensional people live. Like, I like the coexistence and the nearness of it all, but the fact that Joe Schmo, the dairy farmer in Village F, will never encounter any of this.
Yeah.
But it also exists right there. And just to the side of his experience are the dark cows and the evil barn where they milk, the screams of, the existence of a thing from different filters and different lenses. And I love that wherever I see it.
Yeah, that basic concept of basic horror setup, horrific theme of here's this pastoral town in deep Britain somewhere, and you're in this town, and everything seems on the surface pretty okay, but there's something weird about it. You can't shake that feeling, and then one day you slightly cross your eyes just a little bit at the right time, and the right angle of the sun provides a shadow, and your crossed eyes are able to mix that shadow, and you realize there's an entire other reality existing right around you. There's a marketplace of freaks and weirdos who are buying dimensional technology to go fight monsters right next to you. If only you knew what it took to become part of that world. Yeah.
There's a really interesting Doctor Who episode where it's a very peripheral thing. It's like a fan club of people who like clip news of the doctors coming and going. And it's kind of like their aspects, because they did what you saw. Like they can barely almost sense it, but they can never cross into it. And it's a whole episode of it, and it's rather charming because it's like humans trying to understand the thing that's so far beyond them. And I like that. Another thing I really like is the concept of fabric of reality and how our actions can change it. Like in a place of evil magic, for example, enough horrors are practiced in this place will eventually draw forth an eldritch horror from beyond, our understanding, because the concept of the loss and the pain and everything has weakened the barrier between worlds.
Yeah, that is one of my favorite themes to incorporate in any kind of a game where metaphysical horror is on the table.
Yeah.
That weakening of the veil is it's prime. It is just prime story fodder.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And it also gives you the strengthening of the veil. Like, the ring is fucking safe in Rivendell. Why? Because the elves are good. So, I mean, yeah.
All right.
Time streams, man. They're cool.
They are.
Get you some.
I'm really falling in love with the way that Palladium does. Well, the way that Palladium lets its more creative writers take these concepts and just run with them.
Yeah.
That's how we get the temporal magic. That's how we get astral space. That's how we get the dream realms. It's wonderful.
Yeah. And once again, to me, like one of the biggest magics of Palladium is that once again, it's a leveled game without a mechanic for leveling. You can be your research assistant, or you can be the creator of Astral Realms, and you can be them both, or you can have them both as players at a table, and they still do amazing things.
Yeah, there's no mechanical equalizer in play. Yeah, gotcha. Yeah, and Nightbane doesn't quite cross the same depths of power imbalance, but even still, as something like Rifts, but even still, it's the concepts are so varied, and it makes them work.
I mean, let's like 125. You could do an entire fuck. Please cut out all my entires. But you can do an entire campaign based on the Arcane Detective. You could do a Dresden Files.
Yeah. It's 100% Harry Dresden right there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
There's so many levels to this, and I'll never get tired of seeing it because it's so unique.
Well, folks, we've talked about this for like 40 minutes.
Oh, shit.
And we've rambled, and I still don't think that we quite did enough to relay the depths of this 143-page book.
We can't. We always. Here's the problem with Palladium is that it's not D&D. You can't just go, all right, well, you have your classes, and this is the world, and these are your spells, and that is your skills, and you roll your D20, and now you are done. Don't worry, we took care of everyone equal, everything good. There's so much in every book. You can't.
Yeah. Yeah.
Do you need it?
If you're into Nightbane, I think you definitely need it.
Yeah.
And even if you're not into Nightbane, you should be in the Nightbane, and then you'll need it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I will say this. This book gave me one of the best adventures I've ever had.
And it was Rifts.
And and it's just that's the thing about these systems is that you can grab, beg, and borrow, file off the serial numbers, move it across state lines, and it's
the universal concepts of astral space and dream realm from this book can be applied to any game. You do not need Nightbane to use this book for the majority of what it's here for. Yes, there's a lot of Nightbane setting stuff before and after the astral and dream stuff, but the meat of this is the astral and dream stuff, and it's universal. You can put it in any Palladium system. If you want to put it in Rifts, give some people some MDC and call it good. If you want to put it in Beyond the Supernatural, drop it in directly. Heroes Unlimited, drop it in. This is applicable to, I think, the entire Palladium Megaverse.
You can even take Recon and drop them into this.
Jacob's Ladder, anyone?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't think the turtles are going to make it. I'm just going to go ahead and put that out there.
Dude, this plus the transdimensional stuff? Yeah. Got a little bit of a... Okay. So, thanks for listening. Drop by our Discord and tell us what you think about this book. Tell us your favorite adventures that you've had in the astral and dream realms. And if you are listening to this when it launches, Unfortunately, it is too late to tell you to come see us at Wagon Con because, again, it's been difficult for us to find time to meet. Didn't do a Wagon Con promo this year because so busy. But Wagon Con is happening right now. I am there playing games when this episode launches.
It's happening right in front of me. This is the trans. He's in 2 places.
Yes. So in case you were curious, the game was fantastic and the company was wonderful. To everybody sitting to my left and my right and sitting at the table with me, yes, we're all playing the same game.
Thanks for listening, everyone.
Thanks for listening.
Starships, magic, mystic martial arts, romance. All of these can be found in A Cloak of Blades by Isaac Scher. You might have heard my name before. I've done a lot of voiceover work for Breakfast Puppies, and I've recently released my first novel. It's available on Amazon as an ebook and paperback, and you can get it for free if you have a Kindle Unlimited subscription. I do hope you'll support my work as you're supporting Breakfast Puppies, and it's been a pleasure talking with you today. Have a good one.
You've been listening to The Glitterbois, a Palladium Books fan podcast. Glitterbois, Rifts, the Megaverse, and all other such topics are the property of Kevin Siembieda and Palladium Books. Please buy all their stuff and help keep them in print and making more games. You can order directly at palladiumbooks.com, and their entire catalog is available digitally at Drive-Thru RPG as well. Our opening music is 8-Bit Bass and Lead by Furby Guy from freesound.org. This closing music is Caravana by Philip Gross, available at freemusicarchive.org. All sound effects used are self-made or acquired via Creative Commons 0 license. If you like what you have heard, find us on Twitter and Facebook as The Glitterbois. That's BOIS. And check us out online at breakfastpuppies.com/glitterbois. And also join us on the Breakfast Puppies Network Discord at breakfastpuppies.com/discord. And if you want to help us out, please spread the word and help us build a community. Thanks again for listening. We'll catch you next time.